All right, so we've done the first 5 steps. And step 6, to do that, we want to find the layout template. All right, with mine, it's on line 57. Again, yours could be someplace else. That's not really that important. All right, but it says modify the layout template so Bootstrap styles can be applied to the rendered table. To do that, you'll need to delete the run at attribute from the item content placeholder. That's this one. You don't want to remove this. You don't want to remove this. You don't want to remove this. You want to remove this one. And in fact, I am going to put this on a couple lines just so you can see when we get done what it should look like. All right. So that right there where you've got the actual table tag itself, it should be run at equals server. All right. And right now, that's what we will want to get rid of. So we want to keep the ID, and we want to get rid of all of the rest of this. We're going to put another line in there. We want to be able to use it for Bootstrap. Remember what we do for this? We say class equal table, table striped, table condensed. And we can use the table stripe because we removed that alternating item template. Everybody with me? It's much easier to do it this way. So I've already jumped into the next one, but it says we're going to need to do this, all right? And we're going to have to make some more changes in it also, just so you know. But we're starting to do whatever it is we have to do here. Now, if we look here, we're going to make other changes as we go along. Did everybody hear that? Later, we're going to change this, so we're going to tell it that the table should be all 12 columns and it should be responsive. We'll do that later, all right, because they had you do it in a different step, all right? But here we got the tr run at equals server, that's good. Td run at equals server, that's good. Table right here, ID equals content placeholder, boom, boom. All right. Now, what we have to do next, it's a little funky. All right. And what I mean is to be able to use Bootstrap and be able to do what we want to do, we need a T-head and we need a T-body, which we do not have right now. All right. So what we want to do, if you all just wait for a second, is we want to put the T-head. These are our headings. Does that make sense to everybody? Those are our headings. So if you watch me do it, because it's not hard, but I'm going to come in here and I'm going to put in a T-head. Now, please don't do it yet, because we want to remove the end tag. Then I want to grab everything that's in here, tab it over, and then drop in the end tag. So that's what you want it to look like when you're all done. So T-head, and then each one of the individual tags that we have, and we're going to change those as we go on. All right, and I'll keep it up there. I'm not going to move it, but if you look up on the screen here, then we're going to do a similar thing, but we're going to do a T-body here. We're going to remove the end tag. We're going to add that end tag back, and we're going to tab this over. So when you get all done, you added the T-head here, the ending T-head there. You took everything that was in here and you tabbed it over. Then underneath that, we added a T-body beginning, a T-body end, and we tabbed this over. Does that make sense? All right. And if you need better explanation of what I just gave you, okay, it's what's in step 6. All right, and step 7. All right. Now it says we also need to add a class attribute to the outer table. This is step 7. So out here, this is our outer table right there. Right now it just says table run at equal server. But we have to add to this. I'll just put it on 2 lines so it's easier for you to see what I'm changing. So after the run at equals server, we want it to say class, not chas, class equal col xs12 table responsive. This is right after your layout template. It's the table tag that's right after the layout template tag. So we have just done step 6 and step 7, sort of simultaneously. All right? Step 8, we are to go down to the data pager control. All right, and where was that? Remember, that was way down at the bottom. Data pager, right there. Again, I'm going to hit enter a few times just so you can, whoops, not there. Just so you can see what I'm doing here. All right, and move this over. There we go. All right, so it says assign the text center class to the TD element that contains the data pager control. I don't even think I did this in mine. I don't remember if I did or not. I don't see it on mine though. In addition, assign the button and the button default classes to the next previous pager control. To do that, you'll need to use the button class property. As the saying goes, just clear as mud. All right? But let's talk about what it is we have to do. Okay? So we want to come in here for our data pager. ID equals data pager 1, which is fine. Run at equals server, fine. Fields. All right? Again, I'm going to hit enter a couple times here so you can see everything that I'm doing. I'm not doing this to confuse you. Ideally, I'm doing this to help you. We'll see as we get going. All right? But I want to add, right after it says button type equal button on both of these, okay, then I want to come in here after that and I want to say button CSS class equals, whoops, already got that. Button CSS class equal button default. Now you may or may not remember what that does. That's just saying that the way we want our buttons to look, okay, rather than primary where they'd be blue or warning where they'd be orange, we're just having them have the more standard button look and feel. And we want to put that both here, if you look up on the screen, and here. We want to put it by both of those. All right, so I added this, and I added this. What did it say to do first? Because I skipped that. Assign the text center class to the TD element that contains the data pager. So that's up here. All right, they've got style equal. I'm going to just change that to class equal text center. All right, so let me back up and go over everything that I just did. All right, this is step 8 of 13. It says assign the text center class to the TD element that contains the data pager control. That's right here. There's the TD that contains the data pager control, right there. Right now it said style equal double quote, double quote. I got rid of that style and changed it to class equals text dash center. I think that's a regular class, not a CSS class there, but I could be wrong. We'll see. I'm not really concerned about it. Next, it said assign the button and button default classes to each next previous pager field control. To do that, you'll need to use the button CSS class property. So that, hopefully everybody's got this one. And the other one said, add this line here and add this line here. So add the line here and here. The same line, but you're adding it to both the next previous pager fields. All right. Again, what we're doing in here hopefully will be a little bit more evident when I run this. You'll notice the alternating template and some of the other stuff too. You see how it's looking a lot more professional now? All right. There is still a problem with it. And I want you to look up on the screen here so you can see what the problem is. All right. Watch. I'm going to hit the last button and watch what happens. Watch the format of the table. And you may or may not notice it. But right here, notice I can't keep my mouse there. But see where city is? See, so it's pretty much by the S in Superstore. All right. Not there anymore. You see that? See how it's moved around? And it's because right now we have to do formatting to make sure you have to add some some Bootstrap CSS formatting to make sure each column is a set size. Why? Because we're using the 12-column grid. All right. So we just did step 9. All right. Then in step 10, that's when we're going to do this. It says assign a width to each of the columns. So we're going to do that right now. So again, we are in the we are in the layout template. All right. And in our layout template, we're going to want to set all of these. All right. So I can stop my run, quit my run here. All right. I want to get myself back up to the layout template. Now, what I'm going to do, again, you don't have to do this, but I'm going to hit enter for each one of these because I want you to be able to see everything I'm doing for each one of them. You don't have to do this. You're welcome to, but you don't have to. And you may or may not remember, but what we're eventually going to want to do here is we're going to want to be able to do sorting on these, but not on every one of the fields. We want to do it on the last name field, on the state field, and I think it was city, but I don't even remember. But we'll get to it in just a minute. So I'm moving this stuff down. Again, you don't have to do this, but I think it'll make it easier when I add the code for this step for you to see what I'm doing. All right, so that's that. So what we want to do is we're going to start here. All right, we're going to start with the last name. Okay, so for last name right now we've got just run at equals server. Okay, we want to change that. We want to add after run at equals server, we want to add class equal col dash xs dash 3. Why did I do that? Because that's the number they told us to use. And I've got too many. There we go. Okay. So we said that the last name is going to be 3 columns wide. Then we go over to the first name and we want that one to be 2 columns wide. And the numbers I'm getting are in your book in step 10. All right, it says the last name, city, and phone number should be 3 columns. The first name should be 2 columns. The state should be 1 column. All right, so what's next? State. So we're going to make that 1 column. So far we've done this line right here that you see in blue for the last name. We've done this line for the first name. We've done this line for the state. Everybody's with me? All right, let's just continue on then. City was supposed to be 3, I believe. And phone number was also supposed to be 3. Okay? That is everything in step 10. So I'm going to save again, and I'm going to run it again. And please look up on the screen here and notice now when I go from page 1 to page 5 or whatever the last page is, watch how it doesn't jump. It doesn't have that herky-jerky type of look that it just had because I've said everything is the same size. So please look. Notice the city is right under the S in Superstore. I go to last, and it's still there. All right? So now we've gone through the first 11 steps. So the only thing that's left to do is step 12 because 13 says to run the application. But for step 12, we want to be able to go in and notice it says replace the literal text for last name, state, and city, those 3 columns only. Add a command name property to each link button with the value sort. Add a command argument property whose value is the name of the column to be sorted, and change the text as appropriate. What does that mean? It really doesn't mean that much. It means that I can stop my run here, and we want to come back, stop the run here, and I'm going to change 3 of these columns. The first one I'm going to change is the name. All right, so I've got my runNet equals server, I've got my class. But I want to come in for these 3 columns, and I want to add an ASP link button. All right, and I'm going to have to add stuff to this. So I want to add a link button. The ID, you can call it whatever you want, but I just called mine link button last name. Oops. Again, you don't have to call it that, but I called my link button last name. I need my runAt equals server. I believe that was why it's giving me the error message up above, and it was. All right. I want command name equals sort because we're going to use this for sorting. And then finally, I want the command argument to tell me what the field name is I'm sorting on. I don't know why this keeps doing that. It keeps getting smaller all the time, so. And then last name underneath that. I'll leave that up there for a minute. That's the first thing that you want to do. Everybody has that? So the next field that we want to do this to is state. Now, if you look up on the screen, not at me, but if you look at the screen, you have 2 choices here. I can key it all in again, or I can just copy this and make some changes. So I'm going to copy everything in my ASP link button. I'm going to copy all that to the clipboard. I'm going to come down to where it says state, and I'm going to paste it in, and then make some changes. This will be link button state, and this will be command argument equal state. I think that was faster. If you don't agree, you can always type it in manually also. And then finally, we want to do the same thing one more time. So again, I'm going to copy it to the clipboard. I'm going to come down to city, and just as we just did, I'm going to paste it in, change the name to link button city, change the name of my command argument to city. I'm going to save. I'm going to run it, and now we're going to see if we have our ability to sort. Again, as you saw when I showed you the completed one earlier, the fields that are sortable should be, that the heading should be in white, and the other one should be in gray. So that's, it doesn't look right now. It doesn't look like I've got any of them. So I'm missing something. We'll fix it. I'm not worried about it. But right now, nope. Something is hosed. Either I did something wrong, or somehow there's a problem with the CSS. I did it this morning and it worked just fine. So let's see. I did save, so that shouldn't be the problem. But I'm going to come back here to the first one, the last name, double check my code. All right, T-head, TR. Server. You're right, before the end tag here. Okay, everybody hear that? The literal text right there, that's got to come here. It's got to come before the ending tag. Thank you. You're right. On all three. So we originally had this last name after the ending link button tag, put it before the link button tag. So put that there, come down to the state and do the same thing. And then finally come down before the city and do the same thing. Now let's try it. Again, the headings for last name, state, and city should be white, and the headings for the other two should be gray. And when I hover over any of those three, they should change from white to black. So let's see if that happens. They're white, mouse over it, they're now black. See that? And I'm now able to, it already is by last name, but I can do it by state now, by city, or by last name. All right. Now we did that fairly quickly. And if you had a problem with it, I'm going to ask that you go through the steps we just went through by yourself, because you should have plenty of time to finish this up. I'm not going to require this. I'm going to require this one and the one for Chapter 17 a week from today. All right? Once we get done into Chapter 18, we'll do that one. That's the last one we'll probably end up doing. All right, then the rest of it is going to be on, we're going to do a Model View Controller project or two, depending on time, as a class, and the rest of it will be on the stuff we're doing for St. Charles County Economic Development Council. And if you are working in one of those groups, all right, it's important that you're taking a role in there, that you're talking and doing whatever. All right, you're giving some feedback when it's asked from you, not that you're just sitting there and watching. Questions? Hopefully you got that done or darn close to it. Make sure you save before you close it. And again, tomorrow, I shouldn't have done that, but that'll be fine. Tomorrow then, we will be going over Chapter 17. This is harder because this is on object data sources. Typically, when you work with objects, that's going to imply there's going to be more coding involved. The other thing with object data sources is they are designed that they will work not only with databases, but with non-database type of items. You can use object data sources with CSV files, with spreadsheets, etc., with some stuff that you can't do as easily otherwise. So again, the idea is we will go over that. Okay, we will go over that tomorrow, all right? And after we do, I'll have to go back and check this tonight. I don't know, again, if we'll probably end up again do the exercise that's at the end of the chapter on pages 637 and 638. Again, then Thursday will be database days. Friday, Ms. Zika will be here. Next week on Monday, it may take 2 days to go over chapter 18. It is probably the most complex chapter in the book. The entity framework that you use with this, you need to know this to be able to do the model view controller stuff that comes later. I mean, it's absolutely essential. So we will go over that. If it takes all period Monday, fine. If it doesn't, that's also fine. All right. And when we get done, we will probably again do the exercise at the end of the chapter. Again, my plan is not, because of time constraints, I'm not going to go over chapter 19, which is on security. I'm not going to go over chapter 20, which is more on security. It's on authentication and authorization. I'm not going to go over chapter 21, which is on custom error pages. We are going to do chapter 22. All right. I'm going to see if I can have us create a project, an ASP project, and basically upload it once to Azure and also to Amazon Web Services. So then you'll have your choice over which one you want to use. You should be able to get a free account on either one. And on chapter 23, I'm probably not going to lecture on it. Chapter 24, I'm definitely not. It's on Web API. And chapter 25, my hope is by sometime around 2 weeks from now, okay, which is going to put us the first full week of November, all right, like the 6th or something like that. I don't know what 2 weeks from today is. It is the 6th, okay. That from then on, we'll be doing model view controller, either Mondays, Tuesdays, or Mondays, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays, because that gives us the 6th. If we do it 3 days a week, that'll give us those 3 days. It'll give us 3 days the following week. Then remember, the week after that, we only meet Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So either we won't meet with Ms. Zika that week, or we'll meet with her on Wednesday, whatever tickles her fancy. And then when we come back, I think there's when we come back in November, after the break, we have the 27th, the 4th, the 11th, and the 18th. Your last day is Thursday the 21st. All right? So we will have almost 4 full weeks. And I'm telling you right now, I'm going to give you at least one whole period, even though you won't need it, but I'm going to anyway. Probably that Wednesday and Thursday, if you need them both, to update your portfolio and put your links in there to all of your ASP.NET stuff. You'll want to make sure on your portfolio that you update your links. So if right now it's saying JavaScript and SQL, etc., you'll want to add a link or a picture or something for ASP.NET. Does that all make sense? All right. That's all that I had.